Hi, I'm Noah Pred, Ableton certified trainer and lead developer at Manifest Audio, and I'm excited to show you today a generative MIDI device that I have released called Rhythm Engine. It's a deceptively powerful little rhythm generator, but it can be used for melodies as well. It's essentially stochastically or randomly generating rhythms within certain constraints defined by you. And we're going to take a quick look using the free Percussion, starting off to express the rhythms generated by it. So when you bring Rhythm Engine into your set, you're going to see this rhythm section here, which defines the base rate at which rhythms will be generated, and then the maximum multiplier of that base rate. So the maximum random length of a rhythm in the pattern will be 3/16. And we also have similar a maximum division, which if you don't want weird trills and stuff, maybe you're going to want to leave that at 1. We can define whether we want these to express all even or only odd numbered randomizations within the range defined, and we have a note length. We also have swing, available globally, as well as a humanization. General scale awareness here with MIDI transpose in, which we'll look at later with arpeggiator mode, transposition in octaves. And then here is the bass velocity and pitch at which notes will be generated, each with their own deviation, positive or negative. Finally, we've got play or stop here, plus the free gate, side, and ARP modes with which you may be familiar from other devices, and the flow or pattern toggle, which we'll get into later on. But this is sort of the default setting, 16th notes times 3. So it's going to randomize with each new pulse, a new multiplier rate. So it will be either 1/16th note, 2/16th notes, or 3/16th notes. And let's just hear how that sounds with this sort of basic slowed down house groove I've got going here. So what we're seeing up here is the current division of 1/2 bar at the currently randomized rate. So this is just instantly generating some rather compelling and vibey rhythms. Let's apply some swing globally here. Nice. And then we can play with the humanization. If we want some longer rests to be possible, I'll just up the multiplier to 4. Which means that there will occasionally be a quarter note, but when it's dropped depends on the rate of the previous pulse. We can shorten the notes for extra staccato action, or elongate them here. Transpose by octave, and we can toggle to a chromatic mode if we want, but I tend to leave it in the global mode here. Solo means no MIDI received will be passed to the outlet, but we can blend it if we want. So let's add some positive velocity deviation, and you can see on the note output display here, we're now getting some velocities above 100, or I could move this to a negative deviation to randomize below this base value. So, you can decide, I want the maximum to be 127, and then let's say -27. That means velocities will be output between 100 and 127. Now, within this minor scale, if I add some pitch deviation, we start getting some funky little melodic output, which can be fun. Now let's go and explore the advanced rhythm settings. First of all, I'll tell it only to output odd values. now it's only doing 1/16 note or 3/16 notes. Likewise, if I set it to even, it will only output quarter notes and eighth notes. So it's up to you how you want to use that. And let's increase the multiplier to 5. Okay, and now maybe it's time to increase the division chance. So this starts to get really weird. You get some weird rolls, especially when you have some peculiar odd numbers here, like a 5 multiplier. Let's go to our 3/16. And I think I did like it a bit staccato there. We can also extend the note lengths if we want, but in most cases that's not going to be quite so interesting. Okay, let's remove that pitch deviation, a little distracting. We could also, of course, apply it negatively. And these are both available for modulation as well, so that could get interesting. Right, so another way to use the division is to say, let's keep the multiplier fixed and only use the division to define the rhythmic changes. So let's go for 8th note triplets as our base rate. And let's perhaps pitch this up an octave. So now it's switching between 8th note triplets and dividing that in half, giving us 16th note triplets. I wonder what would happen if we divided it by 3 occasionally. So this is just beginning to open up or explore the possibilities available here. Now you might have noticed this flow option, and in the default flow mode, as I switch back to a more rhythmically conventional setting, it just continuously randomizes without any repetition that's discernible. There's no sequence. But if we toggle to pattern, so we can record a pattern and have it reset in bars or never. Let's go first to our ARP mode, which will now stop playback until notes are played manually or via MIDI clip, and also transposition will be enabled. So I've got my keyboard enabled, and whenever I press a key, and it resets the pattern. We can also do this in flow mode as well. Okay, so that's the ARP mode. We can also use the gate mode, which will simply eliminate playback when I'm not playing. And side does the inverse, and if I enter a MIDI clip here, we'll be able to see this in real time. So we'll be toggling on and off between these two. Now, what could be really cool, an idea I've just had now, is to create some inbuilt hocketting. So I'm going to do that by grouping these to a rack. And then let's just do, and let's put this one to gate mode. And the gate mode one, let's bring an octave down so you can see them trading off here between the gate and side, which one is playing when. And let's further differentiate these. I'll give the gate some negative pitch and positive velocity variance, and the inverse here. And let's make this way higher so we can really differentiate them. Now that's putting them both through the Percussion. I think this would get a little more interesting, triggering different drum sounds, right? So maybe let's try exploring that option. What I want to do is actually put this into a instrument rack. Okay, so let's try this out. Instrument rack, and then let's go ahead and drop our side one here and our gate one here, and then I can just get rid of that, and they should be still inverse of one another. And let's go ahead and remove that pitch variance, and in fact I'll put them to a chromatic, pinned locally chromatic mode. And let's go ahead and grab just some drum samplers. Where did you go, my friend? There you are. And yes, we shall populate with a sample soon enough. I'll just option drag that over here. And let's go ahead and find ourselves some drum samples. Let's just search in here for a tom. And it's giving me, let's just search in here for some toms. Let's go here. Ha. And let's go here to this 808. So they're trading off these rhythmic partners. That high tom is quite annoying. Let's go ahead and just find something a little more friendly, maybe the pitch. There we go. Okay, so it's a little loud, but I've just dropped a default instance of the rhythm engine here on our closed hi-hat. It's adopted a global groove by default. And let's go ahead and drop the velocity deviation down. I'll just go tidy up this closed hat sound. So instant dynamic rhythms unspooling from this thing. I wonder what a little pitch variance could sound like. I'll just some pretty interesting hi-hat patterns that I certainly would not have created. And let's of course just I'd be remiss not to explore putting this on some chords. So for the last little exploration here, I'll just go ahead and grab myself an electric, and let's go ahead and grab ourselves a chord, and that's right, and to put a little rhythm engine in there. Okay. Now where it gets really interesting is if we start transposing this in real time. And then I'll just have to arm it for MIDI. And of course we can adjust the chance of these different chord scale degrees. And by default, all in the current scaling key. And, if you don't want to manually enter that, you can, of course, create a transposition clip that we can feed it. Or what I think I'll try doing here is just every bar I will feed it, just that C3, which will then, of course, be randomized going into the rhythm engine. And we can make the timing that a little more interesting, just shorten the loop. And, all kinds of ways to make this sound more interesting. This is more of a generative session than a sound design session. Add some reverb. Okay. So all kinds of creative possibilities open to us. Let's give it a little more space. I'll give it a multiplier of 5. Give it a little more chance of rest in there. And rhythm engine. Great for rhythms of all kinds, expressed however you like through any instrument. Virtual or external, melodic or percussive, with, of course, chords able to be added to the MIDI to create harmonic gestures as well, with all kinds of input and interactive, dynamic capabilities baked right in to our rhythm engine. So I hope this has been interesting, hopefully even inspiring, and has given you some ideas of how you might use our rhythm engine to create all sorts of interesting patterns, and all of this can, of course, be simply captured as MIDI anywhere in your set. And let's go, post effects, why not? Let it record a bit. Shorten those notes for some more staccato action, or elongate them as needed. Let it get a little sloppy with the humanization, inducing just some periodic slight delays. And now I've captured all that. As a repeatable gesture, I can go and isolate my favorite bits and take lanes, or here in the session view, however you like. A very deceptively powerful, hopefully intuitive, quite fun, and endlessly unfurling source of rhythmic MIDI on stage, in the studio, and however you need to use it. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Join us on the Discord, and subscribe to our newsletter for further updates.